Okay, it says live, but you always have a little bit of delay. So, are we live? Say it is so. Oh no, I forgot the
Yes,
banner.
yes, we are. We're live. Okay, well,
Okay.
we can go do the banner. It's all right. We can talk meanwhile.
Hey, all right. Let
Hello,
me put the
everyone.
banner on, everybody, because, this is our, okay, where is
H-
it?
Happy 23rd of
There we go.
January. It has been just like we said it was going to be last week. Things were going to pop up all week and kind of grab at them and just kind of watch them and wonder what the heck was going on. That matched my week perfectly.
150 million%. It did mine too. And that's exactly what my part of the vibe of the week is going to be talking about. Exactly that.
And it was interesting because I saw it from other people here. Hey, Joanne, we'll be seeing you in less than an hour. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was definitely, I saw it from other people. And I kind of think if you knew a little bit about your chart, like my chart's a lot of emotion and energy, that's exactly what it was. There was like this holding stiff of emotion, holding stiff of energy, and just in this felt like a lot of space, but I didn't have anything to put in it. That's what it was about, learning new things to put in the spaces I'm creating.
Ah, very
So,
cool. Very
yeah,
cool. Well, let's get started
yes.
because exactly what my week was like and what I want to talk about for this next week coming up for the little bit going in there. So I listened to a guy and he said when he described January as a slip and slide. So this really made sense to me this week. And he said, January, the slip and slide is going to be like, um, imagine if you go on it and you think you're going to start moving because a slip and slide is what it is. But if there's sandpaper, so not only is that painful, but also there's friction or resistance. There's a lot of resistance with sandpaper, you know. That's how it does its job, right? Causes that friction and that resistance to something else to make it smooth. And that's what it felt like. I had a couple days where, like Kitty was talking, was just felt very restricted in my energy and just where I was going. And um, it was just this crazy feeling. And I could feel that friction and I could feel that sandpaper type of um, the sandpaper. I lost my train of
It,
thought there.
it just
But
it was catching you. Yes.
yeah, I know. I completely lost my train of thought. So, but at the end of that, as we're moving into February, it becomes a slip and slide, has like oil on it. So, and then you're going to be smooth sailing, or you're going to have forward momentum. You're going to move forward. It really felt like I was in a holding, or I was coming up against that resistance, not being able to move forward on some of the things that I wanted to move forward on. And I don't feel like I'm at the oil part of the slip and slide yet, but I know that I'm at the tail end of the sandpaper. So February is more, I feel like the oil part as we're coming into February. But I still feel that I'm at the end of the sandpaper, which is just maybe it's not as coarse. It might be a finer sandpaper, but there's still a little bit there left. And I also felt when I was in these few days of holding, it was like I was covered with blankets. So, you know how if you put on a bunch of blankets or you have one of those weighted blankets and they kind of restrict your movement, they kind of hold you down. And it felt like when I was going through that, that's what it was, a very thick, restricted movement kind of energy is what I was feeling. But then I had a big, huge shift today. And even last night, I had a lot of dreams that came through, and it was like the covers were taking off. But there was more than one. It's like the covers were coming off one at a time. And then I was able to move, I wasn't restricted anymore. And that's really what it felt like for me. So I feel like for some of you that you might still be feeling a little bit of that restricted. That's the only word I can think of that really works for me. It's just a restriction. It's not like you're necessarily being held back. You're just being held quiet or restricted, and so some of you might still be having some of that as we get through January and move into February. So I pulled some cards from Metatron. The first one I got was number 6, Love, Relationships, and Harmony. I love this card. It's very, very pretty. And this to me was about taking care of myself. It was about knowing enough about myself. And as Kitty says, about your energy according to your chart, to know how to deal with that without going into that panic mode or that, oh no, something is wrong. I haven't felt like I've had any reason or wanting to do anything for a couple days, going into that shadow part, like, oh no, am I sick? Is there something wrong? What's going on? No, just knowing that I was just being held quietly and just being restricted so that things could work through. And initially when I was going through that, I knew I was working through some things, but I also knew that I had more to do and I had to look at my parts. So in my case, I had to look at a part maybe another person was playing or played in my life. And then I had to look at my parts. And interesting enough, then I had to look at the future part. It was a generational thing. And that's kind of where this comes to in where I feel like, because it's talking about relationships, it was almost a generational release that I had to go through. I don't know if that makes any sense to any
Well,
of you.
that's also 6 is the vibe of this year in general. So it really is, as Joanne says, aligned with the universal energy.
Yeah.
And something about that picture is very old fashioned too.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And then I got 38 chakra, the light body. There's a lot of blue in these two cards and then the other one, but this one and the next card too. So I feel like there's a lot of throat chakra stuff. What do you need to say? What's on your chest? Okay. And so I feel like the chakra ones are just saying, make sure that you are keeping those nice and balanced and open and aligned so that that energy, so that light can come all the way down through, because I feel like there's a lot of chakra play. Sacral was a big player for me. The throat chakra seems to be really, really big. The heart chakra. Yes, Joanne. Yep. What's on your heart? What's on your chest? Exactly. I feel that a lot. And then 17, conquering fear. Okay, conquering fear. So this is a message for a lot of you. So if you're feeling that resistance or that lack of motivation or stuck, even, it might even be feeling a feeling of stuck energy. Conquer your fear. It's meant to be released. It's meant to be let go. And so the way you do that is by conquering the fear, to not fear it, but to work through it and to release it, because the energy is going to be a little tricky. I just feel like just for a little bit longer, then I feel like we're going to hit the slippery part of the slip and slide, and that's going to be behind us. I really feel like that. I also drew some other cards and I got the devil. Okay. So that is about, well, that can be a couple different things. It can be about addictions, but it also can just be about looking into those shadow type things that are going on, not to fear them. You don't need to get into that fear because you can release them. So working through them, because the devil is whatever he's hanging on to. It's like the guy on the puppet string there, but he doesn't have a really tight grip. So that is a sign of hope. That if this person right here can get out of that grip, you know what I mean, can release that, doesn't need to stay there, doesn't need to stay stuck.
Because often the devil is you
Mm,
and what's going on in
good
your mind. Yeah.
points. Good points. And then the Five of Cups. And this is just about maybe grieving, or it says you're grieving, delusion, disappointment.
Change.
Okay, a broken heart. Again, that's that energy again. You don't have to, I just really want to say, don't stay stuck in it. You know, take the blankets off, even if you have to take one at a time, you know, but you can take them off, all right? And you don't need to stay stuck in that energy, okay? Conquer that fear, and that fear of releasing and letting that go. It feels very deep. It feels very maybe perhaps generational. Feels like there's going to need to maybe be a lot of chakra adjustments this week. And then if you can do all that, then there's the Knight of Swords. And he's in movement. Again, the slip and slide with the oil. He's running. He's moving fast. He is moving towards something. Okay, he's moving quickly. All right, he wants to help others. He wants to help himself. He has something that he wants to do, that he believes in. But you can't run if you're restricted. Do you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
have to be able to free yourself from some of those things and get out of that energy, because this is where you want to go, right? You want to be in the oil part of the slip and slide so you can take off and run towards whatever it is you're trying to make happen in your life right now, and run into that energy that feels so much better. Let me think. I don't have anything else coming, Kitty, so I'm going to send it to you, because I guess, again, if I just want to tie that up to be more succinct, it definitely is about looking at relationships, generational. That really feels like, to me, conquering your fear, letting go of the devil in yourself, or whatever's restricting you, so that you can run towards that energy, run towards what it is that you want to do in 2022, because you're definitely going to get an opportunity to do that when you hit that slip and slide and you hit that oil. You're going to have that forward momentum, and it's just going to carry you to where you need to go. All right, Kitty,
Well,
you're up.
and Joanne made the comment about retrogrades. Last week, Uranus went direct. This week, on Saturday, Venus goes direct, and the following week, Mercury goes direct. So Chiron will really be the only one hanging out in retrograde. And that's kind of important. Yes, we're going to go faster, and part of us goes, yay, but the other part of us is not quite ready to go yet. There's a lot of that synthesis right now. There's a lot of getting ready, because when it speeds up, then you can also get overwhelmed. You know, so we're kind of in the opposite. We're kind of got that revving engine going right now. And so this is the time, I like when Abraham Hicks talks about to be satisfied with where you are. Even in that energy that's stuck, if you can sit with it and not have to solve it and not have to just be and learn from it, it's there to, I mean, I certainly have been feeling that this week of, oh my gosh, I just feel like a sloth. The moss is growing in some ways, and yet no energy to go on, because there was something to be released to make room. And that's kind of, we're building to this very crystallized new moon in Aquarius, and we're in the age of Aquarius. So this is a really microcosm of again, January, we said that from the beginning, is kind of a show of what we're going to be going through this year. And this is that slowdown period to get ready for the speed that's coming. Um, and so, starting today, there's internal conversations that are just going on. Uranus, the planet of awakening, left. Venus is still hanging out talking to communication, Mercury. Um, and it really wants you to look at who you are. It's asking you really who you are. Don't go with all those preconceived notions, but who are you, accepting all the parts of you. And then on the 24th, the moon is moving into Scorpio. And, Mercury is hanging out right now in Sagittarius because it's retrograde. And eventually this week it will move back into its, next week it will move back into its Capricorn. And it really wants to balance whatever this change is. Tomorrow night's a good time to set intentions for your dreams because you've got structure changing. You've got big structures changing. And you have, actually on the 25th, where we have Mercury going to be at 0 degrees in Capricorn. And so, there's intention setting to be taking a look at because this week also on the 24th we have Mars moving into Capricorn. Mars, the planet of determination and will and spark, is pushing up now in the bigger structures and boundaries. So this is exactly what you're talking about, taking a layer of that blanket off and expanding and pushing against it. And it's that determination about the overall picture that we are dealing with. And on that 25th, we have the ability to activate our internal relationship. There's going to be huge amounts of intuitive hits this Wednesday. 25th is Wednesday, right?
Cool.
Sorry, Tuesday. Huge amount of intuitive hits because a lot of the other players are kind of holding each other in check, including that moon in Scorpio with the sun that's in Aquarius now, that epiphanies. But we're going to be getting intuitive hits along with that expansion energy with, and of course we still have Jupiter and Neptune conjunct. So we always have, this is the time to dream. This is the time to really believe your dreams can come true and see them as happening. And so that's this energy that you're pushing against your structure with. And so you're going to be having a chance on the 25th to activate those internal relationships and look at where your intuitive hits. What is it I really, really want? And if that hasn't been a conversation with yourself this month, this is really one of the final weeks to have that conversation. Do I really think what I want, or do I have some other? What is my heart telling me? What does my throat need to say? And then on the 26th, we have to activate new structures where appropriate. You're able to look at that moon in Scorpio that wants to change those internal structures and activate where it's appropriate to push the boundary, change the boundary. I can put new boundaries in, or I can expand where I've put my limitation. It's quite an emotional day in general. So this week, there's a lot of emotions and structures that will activate. Right under the surface will be a lot of emotions this week. So just be aware of it. It doesn't mean you have to solve them. You're just paying attention to them. And then
I like that.
on the 28th, you have an opportunity with that moon in Sagittarius to activate what structural changes you want. Sagittarius wants you to look at the truths that you've kind of figured out this week. Remember, we're in this Aquarian age. We're in this time of Aquarius. So this really is about the bigger picture of me and my life. And sometimes remembering that Aquarius is also can feel a bit cold because it is a step back. It is a chance to figure out where my space, waiting for that kind of aha energy. And then on the 29th, Venus moves direct. And so now Venus is bringing relationships and energy, especially relationships with yourself, out again in this time of Aquarius to bring you things that will awaken you. And again, be thinking this week about where are the satisfactory things in my life, when I'm feeling overwhelmed. And and then we're getting ready to move on to that new moon, because on next Saturday, one of the things that we have is we have the ability with the moon to really look at the awakening. throughout the whole day and really look at the awakening and the expansion. Where is it I'm growing? So this week, it's a little, there's things going to be right under the surface, but it's not about I have to get rid of them. I want to figure out where they are and who I want to be. So,
Mhm.
because we're getting ready, we're gearing up for that February. We're gearing up in the United States for that real beginning of that Pluto energy
Mhm.
and that revolutionary energy. So it is a
Mm.
week of transition, a crystalline week.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. That I mean that's exactly what I was feeling too. That it's
mhm.
just that it's that week of transition. And like you said
Yes.
though, not to fear it, but just to step back and kind of observe it and say, what does this mean? What does this mean for me? You know?
And
What does this mean for my relationships?
this is our age. This is not our physical age, our age of Aquarius. This is um, how the moon in the seventh house is, that song. The moon in the seventh house is about relationships and beauty and the group, and the moon is the private side. How do I use my private energy? I know that both Amy and I talked about triggers this week. Triggers are going to show up.
Yeah.
What you do with them is part of the evolution this week, looking at your structures.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. Excuse me. Perfect. And I love that Tuesday. I'm going to be looking out for Tuesday. That'll be fun. Bring on
mhm.
some intuitive hits. I don't know why. It's just that sounded exciting to me. Like, all
Well,
right.
and that's a really good day because we have spirit communication, so we can take all those intuitive
Oh,
hits.
yeah. We got
So,
okay. Yeah. Perfect
um,
day.
and remember, next Saturday we have the amazing Susan Kennard coming on from the UK at noon, and she has the
Mhm.
podcast Spiritual Awakening. She's an amazing human being. I think make a date to see that, and a lot of stuff coming up.
Well, okay. And don't get too far into the week before you remember today we're going to be with Joanne, and that's going to be so much fun. Um, yeah, so that's today at 3:15.
3:10. Yep.
Oh, at 3:10. All right. Yeah, boy, I better know what time it is. But
It's
yeah,
Liz.
so
If you scroll down the page, you'll see the links, guys.
okay. Yeah, so join us because that will be a lot of fun too. I'm really looking forward to that. So here's your final messages. Journey within. That couldn't be more of a spot on message, could it? Journey
No.
within, because that's what you're going to be doing. And kindness counts. Again, as we always say, for yourself. Be kind to yourself. There might be some things that come up that, you don't need to take yourself to task. You don't need any unnecessary roughness. To quote a football term, there's so much football going on right now. No unnecessary roughness. So kindness counts. Take care of yourself and don't be rough with yourself. And then live your bliss.
Mm-hmm.
Live your bliss. Okay. That's
I think that's a great combination. Kindness counts. That includes when you're triggered. No big, no big decisions to have to make at this point. You
right.
know, be, who do you want to be on the other end of conflicts? Who do you want to be? Live your bliss, because that's what you'll attract. So,
No, and you know what? I have to say that definitely was when I was kind of going through the whole thing and taking off the blankets and stuff. It really came to me that I want to live this year in the state of joy. So live your bliss is perfect.
mm-hmm.
That might have to be put on my motto or something for this year because I really, I just really feel like I need that. I want that, and I want that one for everybody else too. So live your bliss. Definitely.
Yep.
Love
All right. Well, we got to get ready to go on Strong Live TV with Joanne.
it. All
So,
right.
I'm Kitty.
I'm Amy J.
Exponential Joy. Yes, Nancy. Woo!
Yeah, love it.
So,
Okay, until next week for Vibe of the Week.
aloha.
Oi.
Oi. I
We
know.
never say it on the time, same time. All right, it's okay.